And if you missed class, a video presentation will be posted on Google Classroom. Additionally, you should go there whenever, and if it says refresh yourself with this thing, you should watch those videos and make sure you're refreshed with those things. All right, so today you came back with a thing. Effort was to infuse your voice into something. We're going to spend the next, 10 minutes or so talking about what that means, and then we'll see if any of you stumbled into some interesting voice. Does anybody, before we get started, have like a sentence or a phrase that appears in their composition that they feel really happy about and wouldn't mind throwing in front of the group? It's okay to say no, and we can just move on with life. But if somebody's chomping at the bit and they know they got a good one, Ms. Holler? First of all, what are you writing about?
It's about my car, and I don't really like it.
Okay.
And its name is Blaze because it's a Chevy Blaze.
Okay. Yep.
Blaze and I have a lot in common. We're both cold-hearted and broken.
yeah.
Cold-hearted because the heat doesn't.
Yeah. I totally get it. Wonderful. You made us laugh. What an interesting way to phrase that. I mean, that's voice to a T. Give us one more little pearl of wisdom there, Holler.
Okay. Sometimes when I'm driving along the road and it's hot as hell out, I get worried that my car is just going to blow up right then and there. What better way to go than driving to work one day blasting "We Didn't Start the Fire" on the freeway?
Oh my God. Yeah. So it's hot. You're saying your car is going to blow up. You're listening to "We Didn't Start the Fire." You had the sarcasm in there without having to go like extra quotey on it. And you put us in the situation of not just being on the freeway, but driving to work. Beautiful. Voice in spades. Okay, so we're just going to try to get a little bit more familiar so that we can all be as much like Miss Holler as possible. Okay, so voice is, we kind of talked about this yesterday, the soul, life, and breath of writing that is unique to every author. She was just doing a good job there in the sentences she shared with us of breathing life into her composition. Everything though with writing and with life is a pendulum. If you go overboard and you try too hard to be interesting, your composition is going to fall flat under the weight of its own excessive word usage. That writing was succinct, it was clear, it was interesting, it was punchy, and it kept on moving. So that gives it life, soul, breath, just makes things wonderful. It's the personality of the writer that's coming through. So are you a sarcastic human being, Ms. Holler?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you able to make self-depreciating jokes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Lasers. Then that all came through in those sentences. Demonstrates the author's individuality, enthusiasm, knowledge base, and confidence. Again, we just talked about how her individuality, her enthusiasm would be her enthusiasm in which she hates her Blaze, right? Knowledge base, you gave us info about the heat system that sucks, cold-hearted and what? Broken. Yeah. And so you're demonstrating some self-awareness too. And you're clearly confident about your subject. Reveals something about the author, revealed to us that you are cold-hearted, has the power to hold your attention. That whole little spiel about the car driving down the roadway and listening to "We Didn't Start the Fire" blowing up. Great. Can be changed to fit the audience and more importantly, the purpose. So in this case, your audience is the world, man, and you are trying to make the world interested in your writing. Would Miss Holler's writing stay the same if she was writing to her boss? No, she would have to change how she infused her voice in the writing to meet the audience. Okay, but you still need to have your voice no matter what that audience is. And then more importantly, the purpose. Here you were expressing a complaint. If you were to write something expressing how much you loved an individual person, would it make sense to use sarcasm in that composition? We're obviously shaking our heads no. And why not? Why would it be dumb?
Because sarcasm is kind of like depreciate things.
Yeah. But what if I say, Mr. Schrader, I am a sarcastic person. So if I'm writing a love letter to if I'm writing out Amber's Valentine's Day card, wouldn't I need to be sarcastic in that Valentine's Day card? If I'm going to fully represent my voice? Let's all pretend you're giving me advice on writing a Valentine's Day card to sweet Amber Lindenberg. Okay? I am a sarcastic person. I like violent stories, violence, period, dark humor, things that are weird. Would you suggest to me to put dark, violent, weird, sarcastic stuff in my Valentine's Day card?
Yes.
No.
Schrader, trying to get me divorced? No. Okay. But that's who I am as a human being. So how can I still have my voice without being able to do that stuff? What do I do instead? I don't change myself. What do I do? Yeah, no, the purpose is the Valentine's Day card, an expression of my love. Yeah, I need to change. Am I someone who's talking in a dark, humorous, sarcastic way 100% of the time?
Oh, yeah.
No, there's a heart in here. Yeah. I don't show it to just anybody. So I would lean into that. If I was trying to, Mr. Pilitich, you made a business presentation, right? You're trying to convince people that building a hotel, right, was a good idea. Okay, so if I'm doing that, I'm not going to make a joke about how, I'm not going to make some sort of joke that relies on violence and depression and depraved humor to get their attention.
What if they like that?
Well, if they like that, then yes, you lean in hard. Okay, but more often than not, they don't. So the long story short, you're a sarcastic person. Just figure out, based on your purpose of the writing, how much you display that sarcasm. I would imagine in your composition that sarcasm and wit was sharp and biting throughout, Ms. Holler. But if you were to try to convince the hotel magnates that your hotel idea was a good one, you would just want to be careful about how you deploy that. All right, so we're going to listen to excerpts from a couple different Hamilton songs. And I want you to tell me how these songs reflect personality, tone, and how they're different from one another. So we're going to start with Alexander Hamilton. Just going to listen to a bit of this. And then I just want you to kind of be able to try to define what type of voice we're listening to. Try to think about, look back at your notes, how is personality coming through here? How is individuality? What is being revealed about the person? So, here we go.
And the Scotsman dropped in the middle of a forgotten spot. No Caribbean, by providence impoverished and squalor. Grow up to be a hero and a scholar. The $10 founded father without a father got a lot farther by working a lot harder, by being a lot smarter, by being a self-starter. By 14, they placed him in charge of a trading charter.
And every day while slaves were being slaughtered and carted away across the waves, he struggled and kept his guard up. Inside, he was longing for something to be a part of. The brother was ready to beg, steal, borrow, or barter.
Then a hurricane came, devastation reigned. Our man saw his future dripping down the drain. The pencil to his temple connected it to his brain. And he wrote his first refrain, a testament to his pain. Well, the word got around and said, this kid is insane, man. Took up a collection just to send him to your mainland. Get your education, don't forget from whence you came. And the world's gonna know your name. What's your name, man? Alexander Hamilton.
Well, then everyone cheers. Okay. So kind of stay away from the way the music was crescendoing, because obviously that gives you some clues. But what are you learning about Alexander Hamilton through the first refrain of that song? What kind of voice is coming through here? personality, individuality. What do we learn about this person's knowledge base? Yeah. We're pretending we're Alexander Hamilton. It's about Alexander Hamilton. So what are we learning about Alexander Hamilton?
He started out broke and like in a bad environment, I guess.
Started out broke with a bad environment and then
He
worked his way to the top. What gave you those clues? What lyrics were in there? What things did you hear that let you know that he was going from poor to rising up above his station?
they said he was like in charge of a trading charter.
Yeah.
Started at 14.
Self-starter as opposed to when he was born, what was he like?
No father.
No father, son of a whore, I think they said. Hurricane racked his island. So you're getting this sense of growth. And while that's happening, what's going on with the music?
Building up.
It's building up, it's building up, it's building up, it's building up, it's crescendoing. And so you feel that crescendo as you listen to it. Those words, the way in which they're telling that story is designed to make you, the audience, feel this sense of building, of accomplishment, right? Those were all about Alexander's accomplishments. So we have this one song that's all about accomplishment and making you feel energized and excited about this person. Okay, and you contrast that with this next little humditty. This is one of my favorites. This is the King of England. So what can you tell about this guy based on his voice?
You say the price of my love is not
Fun fact, this is meant to be said like right after the Americans won the Revolutionary War. Go America. Suck it, England.
You say the price of my love is not a price that you're willing to pay. You cry in your teeth, but you hurt in the sea when you see me go by. Why so sad? Remember we made an arrangement when you went away. Now you're making me mad. Remember, despite our estrangement, I'm your man. You'll be back, soon you'll see. You remember you belong to me. You'll be back, time will tell. You remember that I served you well. Oceans rise, empires fall. We have seen each other through it all. And when push comes to shove, I will send a fully armed battalion to remind you of my love. Da 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 da
So what are some hot takes you're having about this king right now? Salty.
It's draining and you can't go on. You'll be the one complaining when I am gone. No, don't change the subject, 'cause you're my favorite subject. My sweet, submissive subject. My loyal, royal subject. Forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. You'll be there like before. I will fight the fight and win the war. For your love, for your praise, and I'll love you till my dying days. When you're gone, I'll go mad. Sweet to throw away the sting we had. 'Cause when push comes to shove, I will kill your friends and family to remind you of my love.
That's my favorite part.
So was it written by King George?
Yeah. So what sort of personality traits are you gathering from King George? And what is giving you psychopath?
Oh, kill your.
Yeah, and why does that give you psychopath instead of just like straight up murderer?
Because he thinks it's okay.
He thinks, yeah. He's like, to remind you of, I will kill your friends and family to remind you of my love. So that juxtaposition between that extreme statement and that seemingly nice statement to remind you of my love, but killing friends and family, that's giving you the voice of a psychopath. What other things were said there that give you other personality traits about King George? So he's a psychopath. What else?
He's salty.
Why is he? How do you get salty?
Well, the entire song is like, oh, you'll be back.
Yeah, you'll be back. You'll see. Things are better. Things won't be better than without me. It's the words of his song that are giving you those ideas. That is his voice as a writer. So you want to think about: are you a psychopath? How are you going to infuse your complaint or your praise with psychopathy? I don't know, proper word. Here's an example of terrible voice as it appears in writing. Okay, so I'm just going to read this out loud to you. I want you to be able to try to identify what makes it terrible. Got 1 minute. My son Robert is in your music class. As you know, he left his music book on the school bus last Friday. Robert has searched the bus, asked the drivers, the principal, the janitor, his teacher, even the school cook, without success. So obviously this is a person writing to a teacher about a kid who lost a book. You told him you could not understand how a 9-year-old boy could be so careless, irresponsible, and ungrateful, and strongly suggested that he lacked proper home training. Robert is careless and irresponsible, talking about her son. And most of the time I wouldn't change him if I knew how. He's careless and irresponsible, Mr. Grint, about your values and mine, not his. Robert's world consists of baseball, frogs, snakes, bubblegum, and more baseball. He takes his mitt to school every day and doesn't lose it. He spends hours at home at the pond collecting frogs and snakes. Ungrateful? Why should he be grateful to you for driving out every natural musical desire he has ever had? Sending that damn book home to be covered is a case in point. You've made it a sin for a child to have an uncovered book, and it goes on from there. Okay, what kind of voice is coming through to you here in this?
Very repetitive.
An upset
Mother.
parent, right? Is that clearly coming through? Is her love of her son coming through here as well? Yeah. Is her disdain for the teacher's values coming through here? Yeah. I realized I misspoke when I said that this is bad voice. This is impressive voice. This down here, he's careless and irresponsible about your values and mine, not his. And then she goes on to list his values, that he is able to demonstrate tremendous responsibility as a way to undercut the teacher. Obviously, we didn't get to your compositions today. Make sure you bring those back tomorrow. We'll continue learning about voice. If you did not watch the videos, watch the video. You'll have a chance to take another crack at that quiz if you'd like.
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Yo.